All right, here's the first story. Ladies and gentlemen, this is massive. From Timcast.com, Donald Trump announces Mar-a-Lago was raided by the FBI. The DOJ is currently investigating January 6th and alleged efforts to overturn the 2022 election. I know that Timcast.com is officially NewsGuard certified, which is huge. It's good news, right? We'll talk about that later. But I also want to make sure we're just clear. The Hill is reporting definitively the FBI raids Trump's Mar-a-Lago. So while many outlets are saying Trump announces it's happened, there's at least the Hill saying it's definitive. I have another journalist who messaged me confirming through multiple sources, the FBI has raided Donald Trump's home. They say, or I should say, we say over at Timcast.com. President Donald Trump announced the Federal Bureau of Investigation has raided his private real estate in Florida. Mar-a-Lago is, quote, currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, the former president said in a statement around 7 p.m. I mean, this is happening right when we're all excited. Larry's here. We're getting ready for the show. Lydia goes, the FBI is raiding Trump's house. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is going to be crazy. They say the purpose of the search was not immediately clear. Trump noted that agents executing a search warrant even broke into his safe. The DOJ has accelerated its investigation into the January 6th attack on the Capitol and further examined Trump's actions to overturn the 2020 election results to reign in power, according to the Hill. So, civil war? What?
I don't think so. I think that this has been planned for 100 years. I'm not talking about the raid on Trump. I'm talking about technocracy and the military. The military part of it came in the 40s and 50s with the opportunity after World War II to establish global dominance. But like the Federal Reserve, they really want to control the environment. This is just another stepping stone as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's a very scary development. I thought at first people who said if Donald Trump gets indicted or if he gets prosecuted for alleged insurrection, we would be having some sort of violence in the streets. I no longer feel this hyperbole. This is very scary. For the entirety of Trump's presidency, Hillary referred to the election of 2016 as having been stolen. She called Donald Trump illegitimate to the point where 67% of Democrats, according to a YouGov poll, believe that the Russians changed vote tallies in 2016 to get Donald Trump elected. Jay Johnson, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, testified under oath. The Russians tried, but they failed to change a single vote tally in 2016. Yet a supermajority of Democrats believe that they did. 78% of Democrats believe the Russian interference changed the outcome of the election. And Jay Johnson testified, we don't know. We'd have to have a world where there was interference and one where there wasn't and compare the two. Since we can't do that, we just don't know. But 78% of Democrats, according to a Gallup poll, believe the Russian interference changed the outcome of the election. In other words, a greater percentage of Democrats believe 2016 was stolen. The Republicans feel the same thing about 2020. Hillary joined a lawsuit, Jill Stein, to overturn the Wisconsin election and filed a separate motion to have the recount done by hand. Nobody calls her a purveyor of the big lie. Her social media platforms have not been shut down, even though she said, as I said, for 4 years, Donald Trump is an illegitimately elected president. It's a double standard that slaps you in the face. Hillary skated when she clearly violated the Espionage Act. She had a private server in her basement. She got and received secured information, classified information, lied about it, and skated. And the law does not require any intent. But James Comey did this big presentation. At the end of it, he said, but she lacked the intent. The statute does not require intent. She skated. This is a double standard, and it's outrageous. And there might very well be violence in the streets now because of this.
There's a couple ways I think we can look at it depending on how you want to give the benefit of the doubt to Democrats. Donald Trump was very passively looking into the Ukraine dealings of the Biden family. For doing such, he was accused of trying to dig up dirt on his political rival just before the upcoming election, even though Joe Biden had not announced nor even hinted that he would be running for president. I mean, this is like a year and a half before he made his announcement at all. They impeached Donald Trump for this.
Right.
We do have evidence of potential malfeasance. I should say Joe Biden did a quid pro quo with the president of Ukraine, fire the prosecutor, or you're not getting the $1 billion loan guarantee. And they said, well, it was in line with foreign policy. That's not the point. The vice president doesn't have the authority to make these threats.
Right.
As it happens, his son was on the board of Burisma. Burisma's founder was being investigated by that prosecutor who ended up getting fired because of Biden. Now, you could argue the Democrats are looking at that and genuinely believing that's what Trump was doing. And this is what we've seen from them. They've repeatedly said you have to play the game the Republicans are playing. If they really believe that's what Trump did, then this is a tit for tat. Or we can operate under the assumption they're hypocrites and liars. They accused Trump falsely and then are now doing exactly what they claimed he was doing.
And of course, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are getting a complete pass so far. Joe Biden has said repeatedly he knew nothing at all about his son's business dealings. They got the laptop. The laptop was dismissed as Russian disinformation by 51 so-called intelligence operatives right before the election. 16% of Biden voters believe that had they known about this story, they would not have voted for Biden.
How much? 6%, right?
16%.
16?
16% of Biden voters say had they known about the Hunter Biden laptop story, which was suppressed by Twitter, suppressed by Facebook, they would not have voted for Joe Biden. Clearly, the election then would have been in favor of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's referred to as the big guy getting 10% on the laptop, and Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, complaining that his dad gets half of all.
You mean Hunter Biden?
Hunter Biden referred to his father as
Right.
the big guy,
Right.
and the big guy gets 10%.
And they've done this again.
And if you watch CNN, you watch MSNB, what I call MSNB hee haw. It's like this story doesn't even exist. But on Sunday, even Brian Stelter of CNN, their media guy, even he said this is not just a right wing story. It is something that's very serious and could jeopardize Biden's presidency.
I want to read the statement from Donald Trump here for you guys. His announcement that this raid happened. He said, "These are dark times for our nation, as my beautiful home Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before. After working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls, and who will likewise do anything to stop Republicans and conservatives in the upcoming midterm elections. Such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. They even broke into my safe. What is the difference between this and Watergate, where operatives broke into the Democrat National Committee? Here, in reverse, Democrats broke into the home of the 45th president of the United States." I mean, it's absolutely insane.
I think he missed an opportunity. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but I do think he's the funniest president. That what if while they were raiding his place, that's when he just stood outside and announced he was running for president defiantly as they're like just moving safes out. He's like, by the way, I am running for president. I think that's the move.
I
agree.
I actually said this a couple weeks ago. Donald Trump needs to announce now before they try and pull some BS like this.
I also just want to say,
I don't think they care. I don't think they care when he announces, whether he announces. They intended to do this. It's just, again, absolutely, completely outrageous. Steve Bannon was just prosecuted for refusing a subpoena by the January 6th committee, found guilty. Eric Holder refused a subpoena by the Republicans for information on Fast and Furious. They referred it to the court, and the federal judge, who was appointed by Obama, threw out the lawsuit. Again, just double standard.
Yeah, Bannon was charged of a misdemeanor. That was a misdemeanor. What he found
It was.
guilty
I think it
of.
was 2 misdemeanors because of what like 2 requests or something.
Yeah.
I just want to also say, no violence in the street, you guys. Like if because we talk about,
Yeah, that would be the worst possible thing.
Well,
because
yeah,
it's going to hurt.
of course
Trump
it would be.
supporters.
yes, 100%. And it's also,
Because it's bad. Violence is wrong.
No, but also like we talk about the both sides stuff, right? We talk about the both sides stuff with this, where it's, well, we wouldn't have wanted Obama to be raided, right? So we don't want Trump to be raided. And it's the same thing with violence in the street. For everyone who rightfully condemned violence in the street when it was the left, it's like, we don't want to do that. However, I think people on the left as well, when something unconstitutional happens, when something shady happens, when people need to be held accountable, still make your voices heard. The media should still cover this responsibly. But yeah, we don't need to, no pitchforks yet.
Well, people on the left, because Donald Trump got elected in November of 2016, there was violence in over 4 days in 40 different cities. A number of people were arrested. And when Donald Trump was inaugurated in January of 2017, 200 people were arrested in Washington, D.C. protesting the inaugural. So the idea that Donald Trump supporters are more violent than Hillary supporters is just BS.
No, and that's what's so frustrating is I wish that people, and I say this every time I'm on the show, would have principles and not parties. And that means if your side is doing the thing that you criticize the other side for, not only should you call it out, you should be more upset.
But that describes the right. Not every single person on the right, obviously, but today the right, as the media describes it, is an amalgam of a bunch of different political parties. I mean, libertarians, like, it's funny when they meme Dave Smith because he makes a tweet about the left overreacting, and they say, here's you overreacting, and it's like January 6th. It's like Dave Smith's a libertarian.
Right.
He rags on Trump all the time.
Dave Smith's also a comic. Hey, what's up, Dave?
Right. But
Right.
So the issue is like, whatever they describe the right as is actually constantly pointing the finger and like, hey, that was bad. You shouldn't do that. Whatever the left is completely oblivious or just outright does not care.
And when you call them out, they call it whataboutism. I hear that all the time. It's called whataboutism. Benny Thompson is the chair of the January 6th committee. January 2005, after George W. Bush gets reelected, he joins 88 other Democrats to overturn the election, claiming that there was voter manipulation in the Debo voting machine in Ohio. And it wasn't successful, but he did not want those electors to be seated. Nobody called him threatening the integrity of our democracy. And Democrats tried to challenge electors in 2000. Al Gore to this day believes the Supreme Court put George W. Bush in the White House. Maxine Waters and others challenged 2004, along with Benny Thompson. And more states were challenged by the Democrats in 2016 in January than Donald Trump challenged in 2020 in January.
But here's the issue. You've got a cult and everybody else. And I feel like we can say that stuff all the time. We can make the memes and post the videos. Maybe it will, wake a lot of people up, but there is still a massive base of people that don't know, don't care. And even if you tell them that, they're going to say, so what?
I know.
They're driven by tribalism.
And that's the problem, right? I think a lot of people on the left and on the right, they don't even realize the scope of the bubble they're in. They don't know about the algorithms. They don't know about fact checking. They don't know. They just see what the algorithm gives them, and it's usually people. This is what happened to me. It's usually just people who agree with them. And then I hear someone like Larry talking about even things about student debt and Black Lives Matter before the show that literally I didn't know. Now, it's not necessarily the average person's fault. This is our job, right? But it's not the average person's fault for not knowing. It is their fault for once you do find out something that changes your narrative, not going, oh, damn, okay, maybe I need to change my mind or look at that in a more open-minded way.
I just want to point out how deluded, deranged I think the Democrats are. Jamie Raskin sent me a text asking for money for a political campaign. Jamie Raskin, the guy who who smeared me on January 6 hearings, including a clip of me reading a Fox News article alongside other people calling for a red wedding, texted me saying, I need your help, please donate. Now,
he was, by the way, one of the 88 Democrats that voted not to certify the election in Ohio in 2005 January.
You're like, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
We're busted. Look, I've been saying civil war for some time. Here's what people miss. There's single layer issues, and that seems to be the only thing the left understands. They don't understand what comes next. But there are even many people that don't see beyond the first, second, or third layer of events. Back in 2018, when I'm watching people fighting in the streets, my point when I said we're on track for a civil war is that the culture war you're seeing on the ground is going to reach the highest level of government. There's no indication it won't be the case. Now we're at the point where the FBI has just raided the home of a former president. You can't get any higher than that. The DOJ of a Democrat administration has raided the former Republican president's house. They've arrested several of his administration officials. They've shackled them. It does not get any higher than this. This shows the country to the highest degree has bifurcated. What comes next? I don't know, Kansas, believe in Kansas with what's going on with the abortion voting?
The only reason I'm very hopeful that there's not going to be a civil war is because people on the right have guns and most people on the left don't know how to fight.
That's not the issue, though. The issue is the DOJ has been weaponized.
Well, that's not good.
So you hear people on the right say, oh, the right's got guns. What does the left has? Well, the socialists have guns. The Socialist Rifle Association exists, and Democrats are weaponizing law enforcement in ways that conservatives won't do. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.